This past weekend, we got a brand new album from The Dream, as well as Future. And to our surprise, there was no features on the Future album. I think out of 22 records, I think even his most hardcore fans expected features on this project. But honestly, based on the title, The Real Me, I can understand why there was no features. And also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only artist to land on Billboard twice with no features on his project. So salute to Future, because at the end of the day, that is a hard task. Now, for me, I'm not a huge Future fan, but I can understand how, at least it seems that for his hardcore fan base, they love the album. And of course they love the album, because there's a very big difference between a fan of hip hop and a fan of artists. And we'll dive into that this week, because I think that's a great topic to tackle. However, I do think that for your average fan, the Future album just probably won't hit like it. I mean, look, I found 4 or 5 records that I really liked, but it was finding a needle in a haystack. When you're talking about 22 records from an album that you know is going to have a certain sound, and then that sound isn't going to change. I think where features really lend a hand is to allow us to kind of get a break from that artist. Even though it's his album, it's great to have just a little bit of variety to where the ear doesn't get tired or exhausted from hearing the same sound, the same instrumental type style. So for me, records like Alice and records that really kind of hit home for me were later in the project, where I felt like the project started to experiment and step outside of the norm for Future. For at least, so for me at least, a not super hardcore fan of Future, that's where I land. And from what I saw online, that's probably where most of the people that are hip hop fans will land. Where most Future fans, or so artist fans, are going to love the album and say that it's a classic and say that it's impeccable. But, for anyone that's a true music fan that can actually be critical of artists and say, well, you can be a little bit more critical without feeling like you're being negative. It's just being honest about the art. Now,